Man, what's happening, fantasy world? It's your boy Hot Soup, and I'm coming to you live with our top 5 starts for week 13. Do not set those lineups until you hear these top 5 starts. Ooh, I got some fire for you. Yeah. Our number 1 start, you must get in your lineups in week 13. Must start. Chuba Hubbard. Yes, sir. Chuba Hubbard is going against Tampa Bay, who was giving up the 6th most points to opposing running backs in fantasy football in 2024. Last week, against the number 1 run defense, Chuba Hubbard threw up 14.5 points. What do you think he's going to do against Tampa Bay? Best thing going on in Carolina right now is Chuba, averaging 17 points per game in 2024. He has been God sent. The new rookie who was coming off an injury got 2 touches in his debut. Chuba Hubbard is the RB1 we knew he was going to be as soon as they signed him to that contract. Top 12 finish for Chuba Hubbard in week 13. Tampa Bay is giving up 120 rushing yards per game. Chuba Hubbard in week 13, 21 touches, 121 yards, and a touchdown, good for 20.1 fantasy points. He will finish in the top 12 in week 13. Our second player that you must start in week 13 is going to be Baker Mayfield. Baker going against Carolina. Baker also has Mike Evans back. Baker Mayfield just threw for 294 on the Giants, whose defense is better than Carolina. 3-0 versus Carolina in his career. With Evans back, Baker Mayfield has big play and big game potential in week 13. Patrick Mahomes just last week dropped 269 yards and 3 TDs on their head. Bo Nix, a couple weeks before that, 284 yards and 4 TDs. In week 13, the Baker puts Carolina's secondary in the oven for 4 straight quarters. You heard it from the Soup. Baker Mayfield, 295 yards, 3 TDs, 1 pick, going to be good for 23 fantasy points. Get him in your lineups. Lock it. Love it. Yeah. Our number 3 player on our must-start list. Get him in your lineups. Lock it and love it. Courtland Sutton. Woo! Versus Cleveland, giving up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing receivers. Courtland Sutton averaging 94 yards per game in the last 5 games. What's that tell you? He's going over 90 yards this week. Bo Nix playing like a superhero right now, possessed. Start Sutton with confidence in week 13. 7 receptions, 108 yards, and a touchdown. He's going to be good for 20.3 fantasy points. Hey, man, I ain't saying there's not going to be better players. I'm saying start Courtland Sutton in week 13. Yeah. And our next player that is a must start in week 13, man, Taysom Hill. Woo! Versus LA. LA giving up the 6th most amount of points right now in 2024 to tight ends, but is he even a tight end? Sometimes. Sometimes he's a tight end. Sometimes he's a receiver. Sometimes he's a running back. Sometimes he's a fullback. Sometimes he's a quarterback. Shit, who knows? They may put him in the block. Used mostly in the red zone. Soon as they get inside that 20, you see Taysom coming in. Preferred goal line back, has 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. The LA Rams giving up 144 yards per game. That's 28th. Man, they are terrible. In week 13, find Hill in the red zone with the pill. Man, you heard it from the Soup. 4 receptions, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, 16.3 fantasy points in week 13. Lock it, load it. Boom. And our last player that you have got to start in week 13 is going to be Kyren Williams versus New Orleans. New Orleans right now giving up the 5th most fantasy points to running backs. He got in the end zone versus a stingy defense this last week. This week against Philly's stingy run defense, he got into the end zone. He draws New Orleans, giving up the 5th most points to running backs. Bijan Robinson dropped 144 and 2 TDs on this defense. Chuba Hubbard, 74 yards and 2 TDs. Dobbins, 68 yards and a touchdown. Javonte Williams put up over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bucky Irving put up a $105 and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 117 yards and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley put up 156 and 2 touchdowns. What does that tell me? In week 13, sound the siren for Kyren. Get him in your lineups immediately. Yeah. Kyren Williams in week 13, 19 touches, 97 yards, 1 touchdown, 7.2 fantasy points. He will finish in the top 20. I said it. Those are our top 5 starts for week 13. Come check us out for our top 5 sits. Yeah, I got some bangers for you.